Hi, this is Lisa. I decided I would do a live just because trying to tell my stories in 3 minutes is just impossible, and hopefully I can tell the story. Hopefully it will be saved on Clapper, and if not, I can try to upload it later. But for the benefit of time and not having to have a million parts, I figured I'd finally would tell the story of my first marriage, like I had promised in previous videos. I've been busy with law school finals. I just submitted my last one, so I'm done for this semester, so that's a relief. Like I said, want to talk about my first marriage, because I have been married more than once. I was very young, younger than I intended to be. I was a junior in high school, the summer before my junior year, I believe. Yes, the summer before my junior year, I had started working at our local Sonic drive-in because one of my classmates was working, and I thought it would be cool to work together. And the person that I ended up marrying, he was actually a homeschooled student, and we had mutual friends, and they would come up to Sonic quite frequently to, get drinks and do whatever they do, because it was a really small town, and going to Sonic is kind of just what you did. Anyway, we started dating, and by November of that year, we took our first out-of-town trip. We were going to go to Six Flags, and when we left, and it was about a 4 or 5 hour drive from where we were, so when we left to go over there, it was raining, and by the time we got to we didn't even make it to Six Flags because it had started snowing, and it was dangerous to try to drive home. It was dangerous to continue, so we ended up renting a room at the White Elephant off the interstate. I still remember the name of it, and that was the first time we were together. And of course we didn't use protection, and I'm a smart person, so I knew the risks, but I don't know, I was just being stupid, I guess. It was probably about a couple weeks later, because my periods were regular, and I noticed, hey, it's December 6th. I should have already started my period. It didn't happen. So on December 13th, on my 17th birthday, my mom took me to the local health department to get tested, and it came out positive. When I first heard the news, of course, I was just like, I didn't know whether to cry or laugh, because it was unbelievable, but not really, because logically, if you have unprotected sex, there is a risk. But I took that information. I knew that I had to be responsible for the choices I made, and I was going to accept that responsibility regardless of how it would change my life. Up until that time, though, his parents knew nothing about me. He was not allowed to date. So the fact that he was dating me, we were dating, he had to sneak out to see me. They knew nothing of me. So their first introduction to me was when he presented them with my pregnancy test, and they're just like, who's this? Who's Lisa Dava? That was my maiden name. And then he had to tell them that we're gonna have a baby. And of course I was 17, he was younger, he was 2 years younger, so he was 15. I look at my children and I think, oh my gosh, I could never imagine them being parents at such a young age, but it happened to me. So eventually his parents and my parents, they got together to discuss the situation, I guess trying to figure out what we should do. My parents, of course, are religious Catholics, so they were just like, we're not doing anything like that. And I wasn't planning on doing that either, although I've always teased my mom growing up that if I ever got pregnant, I would have an abortion. But that was probably more to get a reaction out of her than anything, because I would never do it. His parents recommended giving her up for adoption, which we didn't do. I knew I put myself in that situation. So I knew that I had to just live that. And that's what I did. Continued on with school. I was always a good student. Education was always important to me, so I still had those goals of, I was an honor graduate and I still had all those goals. Going to medical school was probably not going to be an option for me anymore, and I knew that. I was about, November, December, January, February. I was probably about 4 months pregnant, and I was at home with my parents and my boyfriend at the time. Well, he was there, and we were just in my bedroom, and my little sister, and I'm trying to think, we're at least 8 years difference, so she was still pretty young, and she was in there with us, and we were playing with her, we were playing with some envelopes, and then I got tired of playing with her, so I'm just like, you go in the room or get out of my room, is kind of what I told her, and she wouldn't leave, so all I did was I grabbed the envelopes we were playing with, and they were just mailing envelopes, and I just tapped her on the cheek, telling her, get out of here. She started crying. She ran to my mom and was telling my mom that I had hit her, and I'm just like, I didn't hit her. Like, she would not listen to me. She would not let me tell my side of the story. She just went off on me. She sent him home, and then she was just yelling at me, and it didn't matter what I said. She just wouldn't listen. And of course I was mad because I was being accused of something I didn't do. I did not hit her. Anyway, so we got over that little argument, and then we were still in the living room, and my mom had told me, she said, well, me and your dad are going to go run some errands. And I made some smart remark about, well, I hope you never come back, or something like that. And of course that made her mad, so she walked over to me, she pushed me. We had a big office chair in the living room, and that's what I fell on, and then I pushed her back with my feet, and then she grabbed me by the arm and walked me to the front door, and she kicked me out. Of course, if you ask her to this day, she denies ever doing that. She just says, oh, well, you picked his family over ours, which did not happen. I 100% promise you. Anyway, so it was cold. It was March, but it was cold. I remember it being cold and cloudy, and I was like, well, what am I supposed to do? So I just walked over to his house, because I didn't know where else to go, and I got there, and then his parents had been out of town that day, so I stayed there until they got home, and then we let them know what happened, that my mom kicked me out. They took me in. They let me stay with them. Of course, I had to share a bedroom with his older sister. They did not want us together. They did not want us having premarital sex because they were super religious, which was fine. And I was there for about a month. And when they came to us and they said, well, I guess they were getting some flack from their church members. And they were like, well, we can't keep an eye on you guys 24/7. And really the only two options we have is either you need to move out or y'all need to get married. And they did not want me to move out because even in that short amount of time, they had gotten used to me being there. So anyway, we ended up getting married. On April 23rd of 1993, we got married. And we lived with his family. My daughter was born in August. I think by October, we ended up moving into a very, very small house together. And then eventually they bought a home with a small house in the back, and that's where we lived together. I had her the summer before I started my senior year of high school. So for the first 6 weeks of school, I was homebound. And then after that, I went to school, and I only had to go half a day because I had enough credits. I didn't have to go a full day, so that was helpful. I still graduated when I was supposed to. I still graduated. My goal was to graduate in the top 10 of my class, and I did do that. So I just knew that I couldn't go to college like I wanted to, at least not medical school. I knew that I was married and had a young child, so I had to do something. My second option after wanting to be a forensic pathologist was wanting to do embalming. I don't know why I want to work with the dead so bad, but I did. Anyway, so my third option was nursing school, and there was a college about 20 minutes away from where we live that had a nursing program. So that's what I applied to. So I did a year of nursing school to get my licensed vocational nursing. In other states it's licensed practical nurse. Anyway, I did that. By the time I graduated, though, we were no longer together. He decided that he wanted to have girlfriends, and he decided that he wanted to do drugs, which I was totally against. So I said, well, then you can go have your girlfriends and go do your drugs, and we'll just get divorced, and me and my daughter will be just fine. And that's what happened. He moved out. I stayed in the little house behind his parents' house because they helped me a lot with my daughter. That she took care of her while I was in school, high school and nursing school. And then even when I was working, my first job as a nurse was working at the local prison in the infirmary, which I did fine. I didn't mind working there. And then eventually he gotten a girlfriend, and then they were together for quite a while. We didn't really talk too much. I mean, we were nice to each other, but he didn't. I mean, we weren't involved in each other's life other than whenever he did see my daughter. He ended up passing away in 2009. I'm sorry, 2005, when my daughter was 12. So, that was really hard on her. It was really hard on me too. I reacted stronger than I thought I would when he passed away. I think I was one of the last ones to actually talk to him before he died. But anyway, so that really changed her. She's done well besides the fact she's 30 now. She's a nurse. She's a registered nurse. She went to RN school. I'm still not a grandma, which is fine. I've always told her, don't have kids until you're 100% ready, because they are a challenge. And, she's lived by that. She does have a boyfriend that they do live together. I don't know if they'll ever get married, but she knows she's not ready for children, and that's okay. I support her regardless. So that's what my first marriage was like. I'll try to come on at another time, I guess, and tell you. You farted? Oh my gosh. I farted or you farted? Anyway, I'm sorry. I'll tell you about the others, because I was married more than once. And a lot of that had to do with just not believing in myself or valuing myself, having my own self-worth, that I did these things. I don't know. I just know that from this relationship that you should not ever marry someone because it's going to make someone else comfortable, or because you have a child. It was a really hard relationship. We were both very young and immature, so you got to think about it. He's 15, I'm 17. We're trying to figure out ourselves. We're trying to figure out the relationship. We're trying to figure out how to be parents. He ended up being diagnosed with bipolar. So let me tell you, we had a lot of fights, and they were physical, but my thing with that was that I made it worse because I fought back, because I was never going to be a woman that just let themselves be hit. Not that women just let themselves, but let me tell you, I fought back. So that just made it worse, but I wasn't going to let someone put their hands on me. Anyway, for those of you that have stayed here and listened, I appreciate it. If I'm able to upload this so anyone can watch it later, I'll try. I don't know. I've never done a live before. This is my first one. So we'll see what I can do. I'm going to get off, but I thank you for those of you that came on and off and listened to my little story. And I hope that you guys have a good day, a good weekend, or I guess it's coming up. My birthday's tomorrow, so I'm going to be 48. Anyway, if I don't see you before the holiday, please take care of yourselves, take care of your family, be careful if you travel, and hopefully I can make more videos. You guys have a good night, and I'm going to try to figure out how to end this. So thank you so much. Bye bye.